Welcome to Voice of the Nation. In June, one of the most talked about social and justice events of the year takes place. It's known as Pride Month. Pride Month is becoming even more excited this year after becoming like being silent over the past 2 years due to the COVID-19. Our guests today are from the hospitality industry and they are passionate about equality in the workplace and in everyday life. Please welcome Kun Regan, Taikitsadaporn, Chief Human Resources Officer at Marriott International in Asia Pacific, and Kun Tina Liu, General Manager at W Bangkok. Thanks for joining us today. Swadee
สวัสดีครับ
And
Thank you
finally,
for
this is a
having
Pride
us.
Month. Thank Right. I've asked you one of the I can say that one of the most friendly LGBT hotel chain in the world. I can say that right. But I like to know first of all about the situation with the hotel industry now is picking up more events and guests and the overview of the what you're having now. Kun Tina ครับ
Okay. Well, after a long stretch, I guess 2 years of being in mostly domestic market, I can say that we're very excited that it's finally opening up, to the international travelers more and more. We just pretty much let go of the test and go earlier this month, right, to completely open up. So this has been very much long awaited and welcome for the hotel industry in Thailand. So I cannot wait to welcome back both regional travelers and long haul travelers as well. And we do see improvement and pickup in business and even local business right now, for catering and so forth is quite healthy and improving.
I see. That's why you will have a very big event called Love Out Loud
Right in
on
time.
right in time on
That's
Friday.
right.
But we're gonna talk about that later on. But I like to understand more about the diversity and inclusion practice because you are one of the largest chain management hotel management in the world. How has the chain management practice D&I in the workplace? Kun Regan ครับ
Uh, I think Marriott, as you said, is one of the largest hospitality chain in the world. We also have a very long history, 95 years actually. We just celebrated 95 years a few weeks ago. And as part of our culture, we've always talked about putting people first. So if you come work for Marriott, you'll hear over and over again that our first core value is around putting people first. And so as part of that, it's really in our DNA that we show respect for everyone. We value people's differences. We create an inclusive environment for our associates as well as our guests and our suppliers, and to make sure that everybody feels welcome to either stay with us or to work with us. So that's always been the key focus of our culture. So when we talk about D&I, it almost comes naturally because it's in our DNA, right? The DNA. And so whether it's around advancing women in the workplace or creating a friendly environment for LGBTQ associates, or how do we accommodate people with disability in the hotel, either as a guest or as employees. These are all things that we continue to talk about and focus on.
Right. Kun Tina ครับ I believe that at W Bangkok you have a series of training programs on diversity and inclusion or D&I. Can you talk more about that for me?
Yeah, we do, because it's as Regan mentioned, it's very important for the company. So we have a series of different trainings that the company provides for us online to take, so that we can build a culture of inclusivity at the hotel. We also measure and look at our own diversity as we hire, and we want to make sure that people of all backgrounds and perspectives are well represented in the workforce, because that's how we can all be better. And especially since we're servicing a diverse customer base, right? So it only benefits us to be able to have that perspective. And we have our own activities as well internally, where we try to practice diversity, equity, and inclusion in everything that we do. So
I
everyone
see.
is welcome.
I see. You holding every month or like every 3 months, like some companies that will have the meeting internal meeting on DE&I and welcome
Right.
people to join to the club. Can you talk
Yeah.
more about that?
Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting. I'm actually part of what is called the Thailand Business Council, which represents about 50 hotels now in
Oh.
Thailand. So quite a large number of properties. So one of our key focuses is exactly on this for diversity, equity, inclusion. And as Regan mentions, it includes the LGBTQ plus community. It also includes women in leadership, people with disabilities, and we all collectively try to leverage on each other and on the multitude of the brands that we have here in the country, and throughout the country as well, because we're located in Phuket, Samui, Chiang Mai, and so forth. And we try to support these causes in different ways. So it could be in raising awareness in discussions that we have, both with our internal associates and with guests. It could be in fundraising that we do to support charitable organizations that support the same causes. And we try to do it, some on larger scale, some on a smaller scale, but definitely regularly throughout the year. And we measure our success as well.
Oh, I'm interested in how you measure the success. I met some companies and they want to apply D&I into their practice, and they asked me the question how, as HR officer, many HR officer asked that how we measure the success, like a number of people joining the club or number of people getting out of the closet, or what the measurement.
Well, I mean, it depends what we're talking about, because as I mentioned, if it's, let's say, women in leadership, then it could be in the percentage of females
I see.
that are getting promoted or are in leadership positions. If it's diversity, it could be as simple as doing surveys, like annual surveys, to ask associates whether they feel that the company provides an inclusive environment for them to work in. So do they feel welcomed in their workplace as an associate? And is their environment one that promotes diversity, equity, and inclusion? So,
May I ask this question, Kun Tina? Do you have transgender as on your staff team?
We don't, to be honest, we don't ask people these questions. This is
Are you transgender or not? We're not asking that. Right.
Am I? No.
No.
Is
We're not.
my
We're not.
staff? I don't, honestly, we don't ask. And if they want to share, then I have absolutely no problem with them sharing. But we don't go into certain specific demographics, because if you are capable of doing the job, if you have the required skills that we're looking for, then that's really irrelevant, right?
I see. Kun Regan ครับ as you are taking care of the Asia Pacific for Marriott, how do you apply D&I to some countries that quite not open for differences in gender and sexualities? Like, let me mention Indonesia, Singapore,
It's
How do you do that?
Yeah, it is a very sensitive issue, right? I think first and foremost, as a company, in the U.S., we obviously in a country like the U.S., we can be a lot more vocal about LGBTQ plus rights, and so whether it's around benefits, whether it's around marketing programs to customers, whether it's around activities for our associates, for our guests, we can be a lot more open. I think in some countries that around the world, it is still illegal to be LGBTQ, and so I think we take a more indirect approach, and so we talk a lot about when you're in the four walls of our hotel, we want to create an environment where it is safe, where you can be yourself. And we don't necessarily have to say for the different groups, right? We can just talk about this in general, because I think even when you talk about diversity, there is so much diversity in our workforce, right? Whether it's race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, disability, religion, and so even in the LGBTQ plus spectrum, there is so many different categories. That's why we have the plus at the end.
Right.
And so rather than trying to address every single thing, we just talk in broad sense, that we want to create an inclusive environment where people can be themselves. Now, whether people feel comfortable coming out, especially I think in the LGBTQ community, it's hard to measure or track that because you can't force people to come out, right? There are people who still aren't out to their family, or they may have certain social pressures or religious pressures in coming out. So, I think we don't force people, as Kuntina said, we don't force people to declare their sexual orientation. But if people want to talk about it, we make it known that we're open and receptive to them.
Right. Have you got any case, Kun Regan, that a staff member who just came out and realized that he's not a man, he's just a transgender person, and then he want to transition, and how do you deal with that?
I don't know of, I personally don't know of any particular case in our company, in our hotel. I'm sure there is. In our global policy, we recognize that. So I can't speak specifically about an example that I've seen in the workplace. I do have friends who are transitioning. So I do have, experience outside of the workplace, but not so much in the workplace. But I think to your question, do we hire people who are transgender? I have interacted with associates in our hotel that are transgender and working for us. So, they do exist in our company.
Oh, and what position that person is?
I have come across people in food and beverage who have transitioned, or I'm not sure if they've transitioned, but they're transgender in our food and beverage department.
That's quite very, very positive, because for me, I've been advocating for transgender to get a job in the workplace for the past 2 years, and I think that they should have more opportunity for them in any industry other than hotel industry as well, to like financial sector or others like male dominated businesses. So it is about giving them opportunity. So I think Marriott is one of the best practice workplace that welcome transgender. So let me ask you this, Kuntina. For you are running the W Bangkok, and then when you have the applications or something, that is your policy, I believe. You're not screening out, right? If you find this transgender person, or in the interview as well, how do you do that? How do you provide this?
That was exactly another way that I was going to maybe answer your question is, we've never not hired or excluded giving an opportunity to someone because of their sexual orientation, transgender, lesbian, gay, whatever you are. Again, it doesn't matter to us. We're looking for the skills that are required to do the job. So if you have those skills, then that's all we need. The rest is your private business if you want to share or if you don't want to share. But we don't close opportunities to anyone because of that.
I see. And I believe that our audience are those in the management and in the decision making positions. And many of them might be interested in getting D&I in their workplace. So can you tell us คุณ Regan ครับ benefits for having this D&I for customers and in terms of social and business values.
Yeah. So I mean, D&I, if you look at a lot of the research publications by leading consultants, consulting companies, their research has shown that D&I has has important impact on businesses, right? And so let's start with financials, right? So companies that have diverse leadership, diverse teams, have performed financially better than companies that have more homogeneous leadership team, right? And why is that? When you think about a meeting room, when you come together for a meeting, right? If you have diversity in that, then there tends to be a lot more creativity, a lot more new ideas, a lot more innovation that comes in, right? And so I think that's one of the values having diversity in the workplace, in the leadership comes in, right? And especially in our industry where our customers is diverse, right? In the hospitality industry, you have people from all walks of life, all parts of the world coming to use our facilities, coming to stay with us. And so when you have leaders who understand these different cultures or the different diverse groups, we're able to better serve and take care of our customers, right? And so obviously from a customer perspective. And then finally, from the associate perspective, especially in today's world where we're in this sort of war for talent, I think our associates want to, in order for us to retain and attract talent, we want to be known for a company that values diversity, a company that you can be who you are in the workplace, right? And so you want to be able to create that environment for our associates to attract as well as to retain our talent.
I see. That's a very good insight and perspective. คุณทีน่าครับ can you give me some best practice and some intriguing stories on the gender equality on your staff and customer you may have?
I mean, for the W brand in particular, right? We as a brand celebrate diversity, maybe even more openly and obviously than any other brand. We have all kinds of activities that cater to the LGBTQ plus community. So for example, whereas you might find a lot of promotions for food and beverage, beverage, you might have like a girls' night out, girls' happy hour type of promotion, which are never hard to find. We also have that, and we also have one for boys. So we have it shouldn't be just a girls' night out. We have a boys' night out as well. So we try to make sure that we represent as many different interests and perspectives and not only for the customer, but again inside our practices for our team as well, right? Because as we mentioned before, as Regan just recently mentioned, we're servicing these guests. So if we can better understand the minds of our diverse guests who are coming from all over the world with all different types of interests, then that makes us better at our service. And that makes us better at finding activities that are important to them and are relevant to them. So we definitely try to connect in that way.
I see.
Yeah.
ครับ
If I can also add, obviously Tina works for the W brand, and as she mentioned, the W brand is probably, when you think about the brand proof points, it's really all about music, it's about energy, it's about fun, and I think that's the thing that attracts the LGBTQ crowd. So that's the brand that really resonates with the the LGBTQ community. Our W brand is also the one of the sponsor of the Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras. In Sydney there's the big Mardi
I went
Gras
there
event.
once.
Yeah, so we're a big supporter of that, as well as the Sydney World Pride event, and so there's that. Our W Osaka is known to be the best LGBTQ plus friendly hotel in Japan, but by the Japan Tourism Award, Travel Award, and then also the Marriott Bonvoy, which is our loyalty program across all our brands, has also been. We're also one of the sponsors for the upcoming gay games in Hong Kong. So I think as a company, we believe that LGBTQ market is a huge potential market. When you think about it, there's huge spending power in the LGBTQ community, right? They tend to be, especially with couples, they tend to be dual income. Most of the time, no kids, so they have higher spending power, and we all enjoy traveling and good food, and a great lifestyle. So I think that's a great market for the hotel and tourism industry.
Right. In the past, คุณ Tina ครับ I found I helped many campaigns for LGBT movement, and some campaigns were related to businesses. And when in the past, some of them just said, "Oh, this program is for LGBT," and they're afraid that it's gonna be negative to their brand. And this came to my question about W Hotel, W Bangkok, that when you promote this, do you have any cushion or being prepared for those who not like really into LGBT support, and then they said, "Oh, this is a gay hotel, I'm not going there," things like that. Would you have this take?
I've personally never experienced that. Any company that has openly shared with us that they will not use us because they see that we support or run any kind of activities that support the LGBTQ plus community. And not every hotel necessarily does everything that makes everybody happy, right?
Right.
We're as part of Marriott, and particularly the W brand, we celebrate diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that includes the LGBTQ plus community, and other communities that some people might not be 100% supportive of, but that's everyone's individual preference and opinion, and we respect that. But I've never encountered anyone who has come to us and said, no, we cannot have an event at your hotel because we've seen that you've run these types of promotions. In fact, I think people nowadays and the newer generations and especially in a country like Thailand, where I
Mm-hmm.
think we're very, very, fairly, friendly toward the
Mm-hmm.
LGBTQ plus community. I think, um, it's more acceptable
Mm-hmm.
here and
Right.
now than
Mm-hmm.
ever. So,
Mm-hmm.
no,
I
we've
see.
never had any
Yeah,
problems.
yeah. I think, in fact, in today's world, as Cantina mentioned, companies, customers, investors all want to be affiliated with companies that do good, right?
Yeah.
So whether
Right.
it's in the DE&I space, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's around the environment, whether it's around giving back to the community where they operate in,
Mm-hmm.
companies want to be affiliated with that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we even get asked all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I've spoken to some of our corporate customers about what we're doing in the DE&I space because they're asking those
Mm-hmm.
questions. We get asked about what are we doing, for the environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't want to, give business or
Mm-hmm.
use our hotels that don't care about the environment, right? And so I think, on the contrary, I think most customers, investors, and even employees, want to work with companies that have a good reputation.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about the upcoming event. Really curious about the idea behind this because it's just COVID and it's not really finished, And then what made you decide that it's time to bring the Pride event back to the hotel and then make it big and you called it Love Out Loud. So Kuntina, can you talk more about this for me?
Like the name, we have to be loud about it, right? It has to be big. You can't call it love out loud and make it very small and quiet. So I mean, it's very exciting, and as you mentioned, the timing is perfect for it. I think everyone is ready to celebrate in general, and
Uh-huh.
Pride Month, which is in the month of June, is
Mm-hmm.
perfect timing, right? We've had
Mm-hmm.
some time now throughout the month of May to really start getting used to coming back out again. A lot of people are leaving home more and more, coming back out to
Mm-hmm.
the office, visiting restaurants more than before. And this is the time now for us to, celebrate a little bit. And Pride
Mm-hmm.
Month, it's just timely. So this is happening on June 3rd at our hotel. And it's really the product of something that our Thailand Business Council collectively, about 50 hotels, as I mentioned before,
Mm-hmm.
has come up with together. And even though the launch is at our hotel, the
Mm-hmm.
celebration is happening in most, if not all, of our properties across the country.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really good. And as Regan mentions, Marriott International has always been a company that celebrates diversity, equity, and inclusion. So the occasion is very close to our hearts. In
Mm-hmm.
March, we actually did an event for women in leadership
Mm-hmm.
because of International Women's Day. So
Mm-hmm.
June is, Pride Month, so we're going to celebrate the LGBTQ plus community.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is it's going to be kind of a day of festival celebration at the hotel, and
Mm-hmm.
it's open to everybody. So you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to pay to get in. We welcome you to join us. And it's going to start with a series of insightful panel discussions
Mm-hmm.
on key LGBTQ plus topics, and it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be hosted by Kun Ot Montian.
Mm-hmm.
And it features a diverse panel of gay,
Mm-hmm.
lesbian, and transgender
Mm-hmm.
speakers. And they're going to be talking about the issues that are most important to them, maybe current issues that are relevant, and
Mm-hmm.
also about being LGBTQ plus in the workplace. So
Mm-hmm.
all topics that you've expressed interest in.
Mm-hmm.
And in the evening, it's going to be fun. So this
Right.
has, we're going to have different performances
Mm-hmm.
from Kun Jai Sira,
Mm-hmm.
and she's a famous drag queen.
Mhm.
There's going to be live DJ sets, and basically it's a love out loud party. Our own Marriott Boys on Wheels, which is catering and takeaway service, is going to cater to this event, and we're going to be serving a selection of rainbow themed sweet and savory snacks.
Mhm.
And there's going to
Mhm.
be a raffle where the money raised goes to charity for the causes of our partners. So it's going to be an interesting day where we don't just celebrate and recognize important issues, but we also have kind of theatrical, entertaining events as well to keep everyone interesting. So thought-provoking and theatrical combined to make it a fun-filled evening. So definitely recommend that everyone joins us on the 3rd of June on a Friday, this coming Friday, in fact, at the W Bangkok.
Okay, we can check out on your website and page as well.
Absolutely. Yes,
Mm.
yes.
Okay, ครับ so thanks a lot and let you have my fabulous thank you from me for joining Voice of the Nation today, and please join the event. Is one of maybe once in your lifetime to have this Love Out Loud event to be imprinted in your memory. Okay, thanks a lot. สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
Thank you very much.